David, immigration, it's barely been on it's barely registered on the radar. Then no one's discussing it. Kemi Badenoch has, Suella Braverman before that did, and I did say, you know, I thought Braverman was setting the right agenda, but I knew she wouldn't get through. They are incapable of discussing the fact that legal immigration, is going to go to all-time highs. Incapable of discussing the fact the asylum backlog is now 125,000. Do you hear that at home? 125,000. Again in the English Channel today, another 6 boats crossed the English Channel today, another, I don't know what it'll be, 240 or whatever it is. A couple of hundred come pretty much every day when the weather's reasonable. Now, that's not as bad as it could have been. And there was a sort of report out by a few MPs today saying that nothing that had been done with Rwanda or the National Crime Agency would make a difference. Actually, I think credit where it's due. I think the National Crime Agency, that big arrest of 39 operatives, hundreds of boats and engines, I think these numbers would have been a lot higher.
No, I agree, and I think the Rwanda...
They're still terrible.
They're still bad, but and I think the Rwanda thing would have worked had it not been for the ECHR, the European Court of Human Rights, and of course there was only one candidate who had the courage to take that on, and that was Suella Braverman, and shock horror, she was kept out of the later stages of the race.
So where is Kemi Badenoch on this? I'm not quite sure where she is.
Well, I'm not sure at all, and that's I mean, she's been brave on a couple of issues. So you mentioned the net zero. Obviously, she and Penny Mordaunt have that spat over the trans stuff, but she hasn't really spoken out on the ECHR side of things. None of them have.
None of the others are going to do it, are they?
But it doesn't help, does it? That, you know, the 2 channels which hosted the debates are essentially woke channels. I mean, sorry to, you know, I love the people at ITV and Channel 4, lovely people, but they have a left. They have
I haven't always been convinced that Channel 4.
But they have a left-wing agenda. Yeah. They don't have, you know, that debate should have actually taken place here on GB News, where actually the concerns of Conservatives, actual Conservative members and voters, would have actually been put to them, because it wasn't just the channel crisis that wasn't put to them, it was the whole issue of bankrupting people and net zero and all the rest of it.
Look at the audience. I mean, ITV chose, and I thought Julie Etchingham did pretty well with them, and she's good. She's good. Yeah. But I thought Channel 4, that audience, were they ordinary Conservative voters?
Well, I mean, there were supposed to be people thinking about being Conservative voters. I'd be surprised if any of them were.
It didn't look like it to me. So why won't they discuss this stuff? What are they scared of? Don't they realise that polling Professor Matthew Goodwin was putting out earlier on the show, showing you that out in the country there are millions of people with simple, straightforward views on what it is to be British, what it means about, you know, coming into this country illegally. What are they scared of, David? What have I missed in all these years? Why can't we discuss these things?
Well, I think you have a point about the polite dinner parties, and and of course, you know, the circles these people move in. I mean, you know, none of these people actually have constituencies which are really affected by these issues. I mean, Kemi, for all her sort of positives, is in Saffron Walden.
Yeah, quite.
You know, I mean, the only one who potentially does is actually Penny Mordaunt down in Portsmouth, where I actually used to be political editor many years ago. And certainly, I can tell you, actually, people in Portsmouth think like that, but they're worried about immigration issues and issues like that.
Nothing's going to change, David, is it? Whoever wins, and it's going to be Rishi versus somebody. It could be Kemi, I doubt it, but and I think I still think Truss will probably do it, but I may be wrong. Who knows?
Well, like you, I lost my money on Zahawi.
Oh, great! I'm delighted.
I'm in the Zahawi.
As the end of the show approaches, I'm feeling so much better about that.
That was 2 months ago, and I realised I'd lost it as soon as he failed to resign when he went in and took the Chancellor's job. But you know, I'm not putting money on again, but I would bet now on a Rishi. A Penny runoff. I don't think Liz Truss has done enough.
No.